Hi, I'm Evan Daniels with Scout.com and Fox Sports here to recap the 2012 basketball recruiting class. And among the biggest storylines this year was Nerlens Noel. The 6'11" big man reclassified from the 2013 group to the 2012 group in early February, and it shook up the 2012 class. He moved all the way up to number one, and he is a dynamite shot blocker and a guy that really affects the game on that end, and he's going to be a terrific pickup for whoever lands him in college. He's currently looking at Kentucky, Syracuse, North Carolina, Georgetown, and Connecticut. And it was a very impactful decision for him to make that move to 2012. And he was actually once a member of that class already and decided to go ahead and get back in that group. Wasn't able to play in the McDonald's All-American game because he did it so late, but he will participate in the Jordan Classic. But Nerlens Noel, probably the biggest storyline of this 2012 group, reclassing back to the 2012 group. You know, among the biggest surprises in the 2012 class, I think, were the recruiting classes that North Carolina State and Providence were able to string together. Those two schools had new coaches. They went out on the trail. They were visible. They were active, and they got in on a lot of top prospects. Both have 2 5-star prospects headed their way and a couple other recruits. Mark Gottfried and North Carolina State have Rodney Purvis and T.J. Warren, who are both Raleigh natives, and then another guard in Tyler Lewis, who's a really good point guard, and he's going to be the one that has to distribute the ball to those guys. And Warren and Purvis are tremendous scorers, and it's a really good group for North Carolina State, a top 10 recruiting class. And then Ed Cooley at Providence, what he's been able to accomplish in such a short time has been tremendous. He's got 2 5-star guards headed his way, the number 1 overall point guard, and Chris Dunn, who was pursued by all the top high majors that needed a guard. And then you've got Ricardo Lito, who's arguably the top scorer in the 2012 class. So Providence, North Carolina State, probably the 2 biggest surprises, but their recruiting classes are tremendous, both ranked among the top 10 in the 2012 class. When you look at the 2012 class, you also got to talk about the top players at each position. And, you know, I just mentioned Chris Dunn. He's the number 1 point guard. And, you know, he's the number 1 point guard because he's fast, he's athletic, he has great physical attributes. He's really improved his mid-range game, and he can really pass. And over the course of the summer, he really played well against strong competition. At the shooting guard spot, we have Gary Harris leading the way, and Gary Harris is an elite level athlete. He's a guy that had a tremendous high school season, his senior season at Hamilton Southeastern, and as I mentioned, he's a heck of an athlete. He's a guy that can really defend the ball, does great things in transition, and off the catch, he has really improved as a shooter, and I think he's a guy that's headed to Michigan State that could have a immediate impact. At the small forward spot, we have Shabazz Muhammad. He is an athletic, active, energetic wing forward, and he's a guy that at one time was the number 1 player in the country and can really score. He was a hard worker and still uncommitted, looking at a handful of schools, including UCLA, UK, UNLV, Duke, and others. But Shabazz Muhammad, a tremendous talent and arguably one of the top scorers in the 2012 group. Leading the way at the power forward spot is Brandon Ashley. He's headed to Arizona. He's skilled. He can score inside. He moves very well and is a pretty good athlete. Currently goes to Findlay Prep, and he's part of the big Arizona recruiting class that's ranked number 1 in the country. And Brandon Ashley is going to be a guy that will have an opportunity to contend for playing time right away for Sean Miller and the Wildcats. And then at the center spot, you talk about Nerlens Noel, who we talked about a minute ago. An elite level shot blocker, a guy that can really change the game on that end. And, you know, he's a guy that I think is actually a better shot blocker than Anthony Davis, who just shook up the college world. And the reason I think he's better is because he has an ability to block shots equally with both hands. He has tremendous timing, tremendous athleticism, and is very active in the paint. You know, moving forward and looking ahead, the 2013 class has a tremendous prospect in Jabari Parker. He's the guy we have currently ranked number 1, and just behind him is Julius Randle. Jabari Parker is arguably one of the most complete players in the 2012 class. He can score in a variety of ways, whether it be in the post, whether it be out on the perimeter, whether it be attacking the basket. And then Randle is just a tough, hard-nosed dude that can really compete and rebound. And leading off in the 2014 class, we've got a kid in Andrew Wiggins. He's actually a Canadian, and he's an elite level athlete, a guy that's really developing his skill set at Huntington Prep. So the 2012 class was pretty strong, and looking forward to seeing more out of the 2013 and 2014 guys. For Scout.com and Fox Sports, I'm Evan Daniels.